everybody, I'm Tom Vasel.
And I'm Roy Cannaday.
We both love Summoner Wars.
Yes!
It's like one of the few games I give a 10 out of 10 to. It's amazing. Are you also a 10 on it?
Yeah, I think so. It's either 10 or 9.5 for sure. I love that game.
All right. Well, then Roy hates it is what I'm hearing. We have two new factions we're talking about today. Fungal Dwarves, which sounds disgusting, and just as a heads
They
up,
kind of are.
it is. And the Eternal Council, bunch of old ladies.
But they're awesome.
Yeah, they are. Let's take a look at them. Let's start with the Fungal Dwarves. So we'll take a look at their common units first. So there's really an interesting thing going on here. With the Spore Carriers, if this has 3 or more boosts at the end of your turn, a Spore Carrier, you destroy it. And after it's destroyed, if it has 3 or more boosts, then you get to put a Fungal Beast out. So you're going to be trying to get boost onto these Spore Carriers so you can turn them into Fungal Beasts, and they can come from your discard pile. Fungal Beasts, after they destroy somebody, they can turn them into carriers, which come from your discard pile. So these have an ability, if you do it right, to continue to reproduce themselves. At the end of your attack phase, though, you have to spend a boost or add a damage to this unit. So Fungal Beasts are slowly dying. The Blight Mages and Blood Shamans are a little bit more more normal. The Blight Mages, which have 4 range, which is pretty powerful, by the way, they can target a friendly unit to boost it and add a damage to it. But that can help with the Spore Carriers. And the Blood Shaman, after they move, they can target 1 or 2 friendly units and then move any number of boosts from one unit to one target. So you can move boosts around. So all this kind of depends on your summoner, so let's take a look at that. Koldak, your summoner, who is 4 in hand-to-hand, which is pretty good. Each time a friendly unit is destroyed within 2 spaces, you boost everyone within 2 spaces. So if you have characters die, he can boost people near him. Not particularly powerful on its own, but in the context of this army, it works pretty well. Here we have the 3 champions too. This guy just adds a damage at the end of every move phase, but if he's still in play, you can target a friendly adjacent unit and add 2 boosts. So he moves around boosting stuff. This guy here, anytime someone's destroyed, he gets automatically boosted, and at the end of your turn, he takes 2 off, but he gets +1 strength for each boost he has. So if you can really boost him up, you can get a lot of power. The Monstrosity makes me sad because I have not yet been able to get this guy in play. But you have to destroy a Fungal Beast that has 5 or more boost on it to put this out. But if you do, his cost is only 3, and he does 5, and he has 13 hit points, the same as the Summoner, actually. Really powerful character. I just like using him a lot. Now, the events in this deck work well, too. Target a friendly common within 3 squares. They get to do an extra attack with some pretty powerful attacks in here. That's really handy. This, after you move a unit, you can boost it, and then you can force it an extra space to do an extra damage to it. That's fine. But this one here, Symbiotic Healing, target any number of damage-friendly commons and champions, remove 1 damage for each one, and then boost them, combined with this Release Spores, where you retrieve 2 carry units from your discard pile and place them adjacent to your summoner. Again, this deck is going to last a while if you play it right, because you can just keep bringing stuff out and attacking with it. As we look at the Eternal Council, or the Grannies, here, I should note that both of these come with a rules update that you can't play an active event if you already have an active event with the same in play. That matters a lot for this faction. So this faction, the Summoner here, I can't pronounce her name, but once per turn after a unit attacks an enemy unit or is attacked by an enemy unit, boost that unit, fine. And when you would discard an active event, you can spend 2 boosts to keep that event in play. That's pretty cool. So before we go any farther, we're going to take a look at the different events that are in this set, because they can stay in play multiple turns. Every time you draw or 1 more cards, boost this card, your summoner has +1 strength for each boost in this card to a maximum of 5. So she could be 8 with this insight in here. After the start of a move, build an attack phase, you may draw a card. This one's a huge one because you are going to be drawing your deck faster than anyone else in any other faction in the game. Learn. This adds 2 boosts to this card. After each event your opponent plays as this card, remove a boost from this card. If you do, add that event to your hand. So you can play your opponent's events, which may not always work for you, right? But they still could be pretty neat. When this card's discarded, move all boosts remaining on this card to your summoner, which is amazing. And then Psychic Assault. Each time you draw 1 or more cards during your turn, you may target an enemy, common, or champion within 2 spaces. Add 1 damage to that. And you can do a lot of damage and keep this in play. Every time you draw a card, combine that with other things that let you draw cards, it's really powerful. So the common units here, after you move, you draw a card. Works really well with Psychic Assault. After your unit attacks an enemy unit, you can choose a card in your hand and put it at the bottom of your draw pile to force your summoner one space, which also lets you kind of cycle through your deck pretty quickly. When you summon this, you draw a card. Again, helping with the Psychic Assault. After an unit attacks an enemy unit, you can draw a card. This Psychic Assault, if you get this, you want to keep this one in play for sure. After an enemy unit ends its movement adjacent to your unit, they must discard a card from your hand. I hate this so much. It's my least favorite ability in the game to fight against, because discarding a card from your hand is just horrible. And after they attack an adjacent enemy commoner champion, you can force them one space. Now you'll notice these aren't particularly powerful people, and in fact this army itself is not super strong. It's all about using the special abilities to make them stronger. Well, maybe not the champions. Here, this after an enemy unit summon within 2 spaces of this unit, they have to discard a card from their hand. Oh, I hate this one so much. This one here is 2, but at the end of your turn, if your draw pile is empty, boost this unit. So this one, if your draw pile is empty, which is very possible, can become one of the most powerful cards in the game. They get +1 strength for each boost it has, up to +5. A 7 ranged is insane. With 10 health means they'll stay alive. And this one, they're +1 strength for every 2 cards you have in your hand. No limit on that one. And so if you have a lot of cards in your hand, you draw your deck, and you manage to get both these guys on the board, you have 2 huge powerhouses that you're fooling around with. So the Grannies aren't particularly strong to start with, but they can become amazingly powerful. I think both of these factions, if someone was coming and saying, hey, I'm playing Summoner Wars for the first time, I might steer them away from these two.
I could see that, especially the Eternal Council.
Yeah, because they require more advanced play. The Eternal Council lets you go 100 miles an hour.
Right.
But you got to be careful.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're very much like card draw, card draw, card draw. They feel like playing like a blue deck in Magic, as you're like drawing tons of cards and then trying to stop your opponent from doing things, but also buffing your people up a lot.
I also wouldn't play them against a new player, because they are one of the more frustrating ones. Oh, you take 4 damage because I drew some cards. Oh, you need to discard a card from your hand. But like I said in the overview, they're not particularly powerful. They just have the ability to be really powerful.
I feel like, to me, the Eternal Council is very much like almost glass cannon-ish. Like they rush and ramp really hard, but if they don't finish it out and don't succeed in finishing out properly while they're drawing all those cards and they're making your opponent get rid of their cards, once they run out of their deck, they're going to kind of be nerfed.
They can't win the long game.
Right.
On the opposite hand, the Fungal Dwarves are the long game.
They're the exact opposite.
They are going to drag out the game as long as they can, because they can bring stuff back from the discard pile.
Yep, and they're really great at being able to, once you're in that in-game, the decks are out, you're still bringing out guys to the board, figuring out ways to manipulate it, helping protect your summoner. It's really cool. It's
actually an interesting matchup between these two.
For sure.
Because you have the speed against the slow and steady. And when I read over both of them, I thought, I like the Eternal Council better. It sounded more interesting to me. But after playing the Fungal Dwarves, I normally don't like that whole hurt yourself to do, but these, I don't know, coming back from the dead, it's like a Necromancer deck.
I love.
In fact, I think they combine with the Necromancers.
I love the Fallen Kingdom, so the Fungal Dwarves just kind of like give you a little bit of that feel in that same sort of sense of like these guys that are kind of buffing up and bringing guys back, and I find them really enjoyable too.
Yeah, I mean, these feel to me like they fit right in, but as always, and this still astounds me about Summoner Wars, every faction always feels really different.
For sure.
We have not yet played the Eternal Council against the birds. What are they called? The Avians?
Oh, yeah,
or whatever?
the Avian. Yeah, that'd be a super quick game, I feel like.
It would be really. And I wonder if they even combine. We're going to, at this point, with the introduction to these two decks, every deck in the game now can be deck built, quote unquote, with 2 other decks. So we might do that at some point in the future just to try it out, because we've not ever deck built.
Right. I mean, that's one of the cool things that I actually really enjoy about Summoner Wars is the fact that each of these is its deck into itself. And you pull it out, pop it out on the table, and if you know how to play Summoner Wars, you're good to go. But if there's somebody who wants that more advanced play, they can do the mixing up and deck matching, especially with the cards that are out there now.
So I'm giving both of these a 9. I mean, you don't need them for Summoner Wars. You already have a ton of stuff. So I would hesitate to give them a 10, but I mean, you could, whatever, but a 9. But I mean, they're both fantastic decks.
I'm giving Eternal Council a 9 just because I really, really like that style of play. I'm always into the rushing thing, and drawing cards is my favorite thing to do in card games. I'm going to give the Fungal Dwarves an 8.5. Still really awesome. Just to be, I don't know, not just to be different, but that's kind of how I feel about it. I love the Grannies. I think they're super cool, like with how fast they rush through stuff. And then they run out and kind of peter out. But if you can make it happen, they're really cool.
Well, there you go, folks. That's the Fungal Dwarves and Eternal Council. Great expansions for a great game. I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Roy Cannaday.
We'll see you next time.